Reporting live from New York with the Federal Reserve Chair, Janet Yellen, I'm Mason Adams. There has been speculation about the recovery of the housing market. Could you clarify this situation?
Building permits fell 2.4% in March and existing home sales were flat. We thought these indicators would improve after a cold winter, but the warmer weather may not be enough to turn things around.
Are the interest rates expected to stay low through the summer?
The Federal Reserve has kept its key short-term interest rate near zero since 2008 in an effort to stimulate more spending in the economy.
The low interest rates make it cheaper for business and consumers to take out loans, including mortgages. One of the most influential ways the Fed impacts the economy is through the housing market. Yes?
Mortgage rates are still at a near historic lows, but they have been rising since last summer as the Fed slows its stimulative policies by buying fewer bonds each month.
Do you expect the economy to grow throughout the fiscal year?
I expect the economy to grow faster this year than it did last year, and the unemployment rate to continue declining gradually.
There you have it, folks. The summer, an important time for this
Fiscal year.
Thank you. I'm Mason Adams.
And I'm Janet Yellen.
The U.S. Treasury Department booked a whopping $114 billion surplus in April, the largest for that amount since 2008. How did the Treasury take in $114 billion, more than it had to pay out in April?
The lower overall spending and higher tax receipts. The trend is higher tax receipts and lower overall spending has been in effect for a while because of the economy recovery and spending restraint enacted by Congress.
For the first 7 months of the fiscal year, what was the country's deficit?
$301 billion.
And how much lower is that than it was for the same period last year?
$187 billion.
What were the areas that saw the biggest drops last year? No, they're doing videos.
Unemployment benefits and Homeland Security both down 31%. Agriculture down 12%, and defense spending down 5%.
What is much of the drop in overall spending attributable to?
Mostly bigger payments from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to the Treasury. According to the weird accounting rules of the federal budget, those payments are accounted as negative spending.
What things were offsetting the spending decline?
Those include Social Security up 5% and Medicaid up 9%.
What has the CBO projected for 2014 shortfall?
Should decline to 2.8% of gross domestic product, or $492 billion. That is well below the 4.1%, or $680 billion, recorded for fiscal year 2013.
There you have it. Thank you very much. According to the Fed, they won't consider the rate raise until October of next year. I'm gonna cue in on Fisher now and ask her a few questions. Is it true that the Fed intends to end its massive bond buying program next fall?
Yes, it is.
Does that mean once the program is terminated that the U.S. will consider raising the interest rates?
Yes. I personally expect us to end that program in October.
What was the U.S. unemployment recorded at in April?
6.8%.
How will raising interest rates effectively help the economy?
Raising interest rates will lower the spending because inflation is rising too fast.
Very true. Short and to the point. Thank you, Fisher. I'm Mason Adams.
I said one.
Mason Adams here again, live with Kevin Thomas. Traded subtracted 0.83% point from GDP growth in the first quarter, helping to hold down the economy to a 0.1% annual growth rate. What is the recommended annual growth rate for an economy?
About 2%.
What is the import and export rate in the month of March?
Exports increased 2.1% to $193 billion in March, and the imports were up 1.1% to $234.3 billion.
Yes. How has the deficit changed from February to March?
In February, it was $20.9 billion, but the deficit dropped $500 million in March to $20.4 billion.
Economists in a consensus survey expected this international trade deficit to narrow to $40.6 billion in March, from the previous month's reading of $42.3 billion. Thank you, I'm Mason Adams.